everyone. We're now into late March 2025. And we're going to play a little game tonight because I'm noticing so many. It's now mud season. There's lots of potholes, lots of bumps. And for anyone who doesn't know, there's nothing holding logs on a log truck except gravity. Tomorrow morning we're going to start fresh and look for issues. We're going to inspect roads where no one else has traveled on them since the fall. This time of year we'll go through like a whole roll of marking ribbon every single day. Typically, this year is a little odd, but first off, look at in the drainage ditch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Other side, I see another one. There's logs all over the road. Do not follow a log truck. It goes over a bump, they fall off. This time of year, there are logs everywhere. They fall off. There's nothing holding them down but gravity in most cases. Sometimes the driver will get out, throw a little measly cable over the top. It holds the ones on the top, but the ones on the bottom, there's nothing holding them in there. And the cable doesn't really do much. They're not required to even use the cable. These are private logging roads. They can do whatever they want. You're not supposed to crowd the trucks. There's signs everywhere saying that, but sometimes you even have to get out of the vehicle and move these logs because they don't just fall over in the drainage ditch. Somebody had to move those out of the road when they fall out. And then after mud season, they'll go around and pick them all up because it's just going to keep happening. The roads aren't in good shape. Very bumpy. How many more are we going to see tonight? Looks like another one. Yep, got another log. So, another one. And another one over there. We just lost a lot of our snow. We lost a couple of feet in the past week because it suddenly got warm. Today was pretty warm, about 54 degrees. Tomorrow's high is 29. Then every single day after that is like slightly above freezing in the low 30s. Very cold at night. So these roads are going to start freezing up again. Maybe they'll run trucks again, but this week, don't expect to see log trucks. They suspended them because they don't want them getting stuck in the mud. But this is the time of year they'll probably start only allowing them at night. I know a lot of years they won't have daytime truck drivers. They'll only have them running from like 10 p.m. until noon when the roads are more frozen. Because this time of year, the freeze and thaw cycles are going to be crazy up here. We already went past a couple of floods on the roads caused by beavers back in the fall. They plugged the pipes, and now that things are melting, there's no room for the water. But we actually had a really good spring thaw. Yes, it can snow again. This area here, the growing season is June 15th. We are in far northern Maine. It will probably snow again. In fact, I think we're expecting 5 inches on Monday, a couple days out. It won't stick around. It'll melt pretty fast. This year we actually lost our snow pretty early. At my house, which is the next growing zone, June 1st, we had a deep freeze last year, May 26th. So it is possible. The year before that, I planted my garden May 1st and it was fine. This does seem like it's going to be a warmer year as far as the spring thaw. It was a pretty cold winter. No complaints there. It was definitely average, very cold. Got a decent amount of snow. I wish we would have had more, but I think that season's done. Okay, where are our logs? We didn't see any for a little bit now. Gotta drive careful. I'm also trying to figure out how to work my new dash camera. The one that came factory in here is horrible. No dealer was ever able to get it to actually sync up to the Toyota app. The factory camera is horrible. The quality looks like it's 20 years old. It's an awful thing. And the new one, I gotta figure out how to get it to work. It's supposed to have a option where you push a button and it'll save the past 30 seconds via Bluetooth to your phone. I want to figure out how that works because I plan on using it to capture animals that run across the road where I can't get the camera rolling in time. Also for idiots on the road. If I'm in a state like Massachusetts, I can't go a day without somebody almost hitting me and having to avoid it. I would love to make compilations of stupid drivers like that. So that's why I got it. And now that I have it, watch, nothing will happen ever again. I'm sure it will. But there's some interesting moments. My factory camera, you can get things out of the SD card. It's weird. It doesn't save the files in order, so it takes forever to find what you're looking for. It also doesn't seem to record everything. It seems to record a little here, a little there. I don't like that at all. So basically, the factory Toyota camera here has a SD card. It created by itself like a dozen folders. It will record 5 minutes in one folder, 5 minutes in the next, 5 minutes in the next. I don't know why it doesn't just fill them up in order, but everything is a jumbled mess. But who knows, maybe it'll get a different perspective, so I'm not going to remove it or anything. But the new camera is pretty cool. It has forward, it has 2 side cameras. You can adjust to look out the side windows. You can adjust to look at the driver passenger. You can do whatever you want as far as that. You can have one looking high up, one looking down low on the hood. There's also one for the rear window, which I haven't hooked up yet because I didn't feel like ripping the ceiling down in here. That's like more of a warm weather project. I didn't want to do that. But I don't have one in the back for now. Maybe I'll be lazy and I'll just secure it to the ceiling. It came with a whole bunch of these little sticky tabs that hold a wire. Maybe I'll just be lazy and run it up the wall or something. Although it does seem pretty easy to get it behind the internal trim, so I'll probably try that. But I bought a camera. Let's see if I can get a light on in here and tell you what it's called. It says right on it, actually. Let me grab my phone and get the light. So it's called Neidesto, Neideso. I got it on Amazon after seeing a commercial for it, I think in a YouTube ad, and then I ordered it. They have a couple models. They have a cheap one, they have an expensive one. I kind of got the middle range. It was about $140. It has an SD card, 64 gigabytes. I believe I can probably put a bigger one in it. And so far I have it hooked up to my phone. Well, no, I have it hooked up to my offline phone, and here's why. It requires a Wi-Fi signal. So when I have the Wi-Fi on my actual phone, it won't let the data work. The internet won't work because it's occupying a dead Wi-Fi signal. So I just use my offline phone for the camera to Bluetooth things over to. And if I see something exciting, I just go into the camera's app and I can save any file I want. I just need to figure out what button I'm supposed to push. I'm not sure yet how to save the past minute, but if I slam the brakes on or hit a big pothole, the camera will make a noise and it's supposedly saving incidents. Like if I slam the brake on, even the factory one will do it. I'm gonna actually try that right now. Here we go. That little beep you heard, that was the factory one. The new camera did not react to that, which is unfortunate. I guess it's got to be more abrupt. I still got to read the manual. There's not many instructions. Like, no one's ever made a video how to control this thing properly. There's setup videos, but they don't explain the instructions well. I don't know, some of these newer technology things, it might even have a verbal word I could say. But what is cool about it is, maybe it's the app doing it, I'm not sure. It knows my speed. It knows what I'm doing. Like, right on the screen, it'll show if I'm using my blinkers. It'll show if I'm applying the brakes. I guess that's good for an insurance claim, so no one can try to say you didn't do a certain thing. Like, I was very angry recently. I received this ticket in the mail from a traffic camera. And of course, it was the spot I always imagined if I ever got one it would be. It was Rhode Island. I never go to Rhode Island. I avoid that state. There's no reason for me to ever really go there, but I passed through it like a month ago, and I got a traffic ticket. And the traffic ticket is, apparently I went through a red light within 0.5 seconds. Half a second they got me going through the red light and still sent me a ticket. Oh, come on, really? And the speed limit on that road was 30. It said I was going 18. It's not even like I sped through it. But that's why I avoid that state. I have always been aware of that. That state has traffic cameras everywhere. Here in Maine, most towns and counties don't allow that stuff because it's considered unfair. And who knows if that traffic camera's even telling the truth. Who's seen that show called Caught in Providence, Rhode Island? They throw out almost every single case because they even admit these traffic cameras aren't fair. Sometimes if you pull up too far on the line, it'll give you a ticket for no reason. Or what is something that always seems to happen with those things? Oh yeah, the law is if your wheel is over the white line when it turns red, you can still go through it. And I think there's even a 1 second law or something like that, but they even sent me a video of the incident, and it turned red right smack dab when my front axle was over that white line. So I do think it's unfair, but that's a far away, and I don't ever go there, so I decided to not fight it. I just paid it. It was $80. It didn't seem worth my time. I would have paid more in gasoline just going there. And I showed the video that they gave me, because they basically gave me a link where I could go online and look at the video of my violation. Well, I showed it to my insurance company, and they were like, oh, we're not going to hold that against you. That is so stupid. So my insurance company was understanding. They're not going to boost my rate or anything because of that. They could see that it wasn't a big deal. And I also found out if you get a ticket in Canada, an American insurance company can't see that. It's not in the computer system. Is this, what bridge is this? Not the bridge I thought it was, or is it? I think this is a bridge I swim under sometimes. If this is what I'm thinking of, it's very deep under here, and kids sometimes jump off this one. I think it is. Yeah, it is the deep one. We gotta, yep, I think it is. But we're gonna drive around for a little bit. I want to check a few spots. I'm imagining the roads are open. These main arteries, we don't really have a risk of getting stuck, but some of these back roads no one goes down. You got to be wary of underground frost heaves that are melting. It might look dry on the surface, but underneath it's like quicksand. If anyone was wondering, it was Geico, by the way, who is not going to hold that against me. But unfortunately, I will be opting out of Geico come June. In June, my insurance expires, and I will not be staying with Geico. I'm only with them right now because I've already paid out until June. So in June, I will be switching my insurance to another provider, which is going to offer me half the price. So Geico, I guess, is expensive. I'm going to switch to a private company, which can offer me a better deal based on my driving habits. Geico will charge you based on how far you drive, and everyone knows I drive a lot. The new company does not care if I drive 100 miles or 100,000 miles a year. They don't care. They told me that it's your right to drive as much as you want, and we don't feel more time on the road increases your hazard at all. In fact, they say being on the road more often, in our eyes, is just more experience for you. The new company, I do not remember their name, but I will switch to them in June. It might be Haggerty. It might be the insurance company. we got frost heaves here, weird ones. There's big cracks in the road. So they still plow this area. Frost heaving is considerably worse on roads that are not plowed, because when the snow melts, all that snow just went into the dirt road. But here it's plowed, so everything is melting on the edges right into the ditch, not the road. So, mud season. What exactly is mud season? It means the ground is still frozen a few feet under, but the top layer is soaked. It's all mud and water, but underneath is solid ice deep underground, preventing it from sinking into the ground. Once it melts through, mud season ends. Now, what's a frost heave? A frost heave is the underground water. When the frost line gets down to the underground water, the water freezes, it expands as it freezes, pushing up, making all kinds of weird bumps. It can force rocks out of the road. But also, if you have like a underground spring, it's going to keep freezing over and over itself. It will maybe deform the road, sometimes not. It's going to push out soil, basically replacing it with ice. And it creates an underground hazard, whether it be a sinkhole or a mud pit, basically similar to quicksand. Last year, early 2024, I got this truck stuck probably 3 or 4 times in deep mud. The winch pulled it out pretty well. I also got stuck maybe 24 times in snow. A dozen of those times or so were within an hour of, it was within an hour. Because I got stuck, had to winch myself 20 feet, got stuck again and again and again. And, yeah. I even went to that same road this year and I was like, nope, we're going to wait a little longer. I'm not taking this risk again. I'm not getting stuck in the snow. Because it's not something that's difficult. It's more of a pain in the butt having to keep hooking all that stuff up, taking it back down, hooking it up, taking it down. Because you got to keep hooking it up and taking it down because you don't know if you're going to need it again or not. If you're done, you want to just blast through the snow and get out of there. So I wasn't even rolling up the cable. I was just basically putting it through the window onto my lap because that's extra time. Every single time you got to unspool the cable again. So I just had the cable on my lap in here. And I was like, whoop, I'm stuck again. Okay, that's weird. That's the new dash camera made that noise, but the factory one didn't seem to respond to that at all. So this one picks up potholes better. The other one picks up abrupt stops better. Because the other one, the way that works is there's basically a little metal ball inside of a dish with a little hole at the bottom. Every time the little ball gets knocked out, it basically completing a circuit, and that's what causes it to react, if I'm explaining that right. That's how I would describe it. I used to have a bike alarm on my bicycle as a kid, and when it broke, I took it apart, and that's what I found in there. Every time this little ball gets knocked out of place from going over a bump. Because that's when I used to keep my bicycle outside. If someone tried to steal it, it would just set this loud alarm off that can't be shut off without a pin. We're on right now, we're eventually going to come across some familiar locations. We inspected them in the fall. A couple of them had beavers. We marked it. I don't know if they've been removed or not, if we can even get down there. The snow's getting deep, and I know where we're going. They don't plow it. So whether we're going to risk it tonight or wait till tomorrow, we'll find out. But I think I'm too early still. My area has lost all the snow, but this is like 3 hours further north and there's snow everywhere. I don't know if the road is going to be snow covered or not. I think it'll be to the point where I can drive through it, but that frost heaving issue is something I don't want to get into now in the middle of the night. Yeah, like this is frost heaving, all these bumps you see me driving over. Most of those will settle back down without any issue. Noise you're hearing with the camera, there's really no way to stop that. I've tried and I've given up. If anyone knows any kind of phone mount that might prevent that, I'll try it, but I've had ones that have been perfect, but the best products, they stop making them. It's horrible. They replace it with these, which you hear all those weird clicking sounds. Can't make it stop. I don't even know what's making that sound. All the joints are completely tightened as much as I can. I think it stopped. Yeah, it stopped. It has something to do with the suction cup. Let me know in the comments, does that noise bother you? If it bothers you, I'll try to make a point of doing something about this. If it's only bothering me, I'll just forget about the whole thing. I don't know if that adds to the video positively or negatively, I really don't know. Like, there's a lot of things that I used to think irritated people, but turns out when I asked, that people actually liked it. Like, people like seeing the hood in the video because the camera does such a good job auto-stabilizing. The hood actually gives reference to all the bumps we're going over. The road would appear perfectly smooth if it wasn't for the hood, but does the rattling and noise help or hurt? I'm not sure. I know personally, if I watch other people's videos, I know like noises that vehicles are making, such as engines and stuff, I find interesting, but I don't know about rattling noise. Oh, we have something here. Some kind of culvert mustn't be working there, or it's just clogged with ice. I don't believe they logged down here. I'm pretty sure eventually we're going to get to the end of the road that they paved. All considering, this road's actually in pretty good shape. It could be a lot worse. Like, the fact that I'm able to go this fast is amazing. I might have got sidetracked. Did I mention that this year we had a pretty good spring thaw? Everything melted gradually but fast. There was no flooding this year. We didn't have rain combined with melt. Everything just seemed to melt without flooding anything. The rivers and creeks maybe got a little high, but there was no severe flooding like we had last year. A lot of our rivers hit major flood stage multiple times in the spring. Yeah, it could still happen, but the bulk of the snow has already left us. Like, this area here had 5 feet of snow a couple months ago, but my area had maybe 3 feet. We lost everything. Here, what you're seeing is mostly the snowbank. You look in the woods, there's maybe a foot, but I think less. You're only seeing the big snowbanks around the dark shaded corners where the sun can't get in here. out here on these roads, the potholes are a lot better than if you were in the city, because pavement potholes always have sharp edges. Dirt road potholes are always smooth on the edges. It's gradual. You're not hitting anything super abrupt. Yeah, I saw a couple comments on one of my videos saying, "Oh, you're gonna ruin your truck the way you drive." Someone thinks the way I drive out here is aggressive. I don't think it is. You should see the way some of these other loggers out here are driving. I've seen people, they drift around every single corner, going fast as they possibly can, just tearing up the road. I don't seem to go that fast. But, as I tell people, sometimes time is money, and if there's a road covered in potholes, it's going to take you all day when you're going to these locations that are sometimes 100 miles away from the nearest town. This is nothing land. There's no signals out here. There's no houses. You can go hours, depending on the time of year. You can go a day or two without passing another car, because the only people you're going to see out here are probably loggers, park rangers, hunters. You come out here the right time of year, you're not going to see anyone. If it's not hunting season, if they're not logging, you're not going to see anyone out here. And those are the dangerous times when you don't want to get stuck. This time of year, it's not the worst time. I'd say the worst time to be out here and have an emergency is in the fall before a snowstorm, because no one's ever going to know you're out here and you get snowed into one of these unplowed roads. What? Yeah, that's always been a little fear of mine, driving down these back roads that they might not plow in the very cold part of the year, maybe like December. It's super cold, but it hasn't snowed yet. You get stuck, get snowed in, you have no signal. You're either going to have to walk somewhere super far. How else are you going to get someone's attention out here? I've got a CB radio, but that only goes so far. I'm hoping somebody with a more powerful receiver would be able to hear something, but they probably, they probably would be able to respond if they are able to hear it. I think this part of the road is actually beautiful. Look at these nice trees. The snow's getting a little deeper, because we just basically went up and now we're going down in elevation, down the other side. I just did seem to have stopped the shaking noise. I'm holding the bottom of the camera. For a while, I actually was... it looks like the end of the road, and I don't think I want to go down there. We'll have to wait a few weeks before we continue. I used to jam a bottle here underneath it, and that actually worked for a while. Okay, let's see what we got up here. Do I want to risk this? Someone else has been going down here, but no, we're not taking that risk. But I'm glad I found out tonight, so I don't have to waste valuable daylight tomorrow figuring out if this was a doable route. All right, like I mentioned, it's going to be cold next week, so we're going to give this route couple of weeks before we return and inspect it. Yeah, I already knew this wasn't going to be... It's rare when this route is plowed for winter logging. There's certain areas they want to log in the winter because it's frozen, like wetlands and swamps. They'll log those in the winter so their trucks and equipment don't get stuck. I'm backing up because I want to peek down another road here, which I also don't think is plowed. Here we are. Okay, what do we got? Oh, we are not where I thought we were. I thought that we were further down. I guess they didn't plow all the way down. Okay, that's actually the park ranger station there. So that's why they plowed down to this point. So I guess if we did crash on this road, somebody's gonna find us. I had the perception we were a lot further than we really were. Yeah. You know, it works. I put a bottle under the camera and now you don't hear anything, do you? That actually worked. It just needed a little shim to stop it from shaking. Now you're probably just hearing all my garbage in here. Like, I plan on being out here a couple days, and we're in an area I don't often go to as much. And I came up here at an odd time of day. All the supermarkets and Walmart on the way up here was closed, so I just stopped at a gas station. They gave me this paper bag, and I just got a couple of things to hold me over for the next day. Or a couple of days. Typically, I got enough fuel to stay out here for about 3 or 4 days. At these slow speeds, we don't use much fuel. Oh no, bottle fell out. But I think I'm on to something as far as the bottle. I wish they made a phone holder that had multiple suction cups that could stabilize each other. That'd be ideal. You know what I might end up doing, because I've tried all kinds of phone holders and they don't seem to work? Maybe I'll get just a regular tripod mount and glue it to the windshield. I'll just glue it to the windshield. Like, I'm always filming things and I don't really care about the truck's resale value because I don't plan on ever selling this thing. I've been making payments on it for a while and I just don't see myself ever selling it. Although I do at some point want to get a more powerful truck. Oh, there we go. Because the only limitation to this truck is it cannot move heavy trailers. It cannot pull a little excavator or a skid steer. It can't move things like that. That's the only limitation I have. It struggles a little bit when I move around the generator, which is about 3,500 pounds with the trailer. It struggles a little bit, but it's well within the weight rating. My weight limit is 6,000 pounds. A regular pickup truck is usually 10 or 12. And this is only a mid-sized truck. But it's good for the trails. It's good for off-road. Because it's also not as heavy as a regular truck. So that's also a benefit in the mud. And how often do I ever actually need to move a trailer like that? It's rare, actually. And anytime I would ever need to move something like that, it's probably just go rent a U-Haul for the day. Even their box trucks, that can pull so much weight. I just like talking about random things. And I enjoy reading the comments to see what kind of feedback I get. Just a little hobby of vlogging on this channel. Sometimes I'll get comments in the down below and somebody will be just saying, oh, this is such a boring video, why do you even make it? Well, some people just want to listen, I guess, and you should just look at the channel's name, vlogs. What's a vlog? It's just talking. That's all that means. And I'll just I'll just respond to people, well, just look at the name of the channel. What do you possibly expect to see on this channel? And it's the same thing when I get a lot of comments and I just start ignoring them because I get it so often. I get a lot of comments asking, hey, how come you're not doing your regular videos, unclogging drains and stuff and all? Oh, did you see all that erosion right there? That was pretty deep. Yeah, I'll say to people, when has this channel ever had a normal uploading schedule? It's completely random. My subjects have been random all over the place the entire 8 years I've been posting on here. Nothing has ever been on a schedule. But I'll also respond saying, just look at this. You know, a lot of people don't live this far north, and you got to realize there's ice, drains, everything is frozen until at least April, if you're lucky. Sometimes it'll be frozen until May. Up here, the trees don't grow leaves until June. June 1st, you'll have buds. It'll just be starting to green up. May, buds, no leaves yet. Our growing season at my house is June 1st until September 30th. Up here, it is June 15th until September 15th. So June, okay, July, August, September. You only have 3 months of growing season up here in northern Maine. Sometimes you'll get 4. Every year is different. Where I live, it's 4. Sometimes I'll get 5. It's how it is. It's not like go down south to Massachusetts. They got about 6 months. You go down south to like, and I don't know 100%. I've never lived in these places. I'm just guessing. Go down to like Pennsylvania. I'm imagining they have a little bit more. Go down to like North Carolina. I'm imagining they probably have like a 9 or 10 month growing season, something like that. Go down to Florida, you got like a 11 month growing season or something. Maybe 10. I do know that Panhandle gets deep freezes, and they had record snowfall this year of like 8 inches, but that was gone in a couple days. But still, that would ruin the growing season. And I know that basically everywhere in the United States historically has freezes. Even the Florida Keys had a deep freeze, but that was almost 50 years ago. It's possible, but unlikely. But I'm just saying, a lot of people don't have growing seasons this short. Not even myself. I don't live this far up. So yeah, the growing season here is... It's interesting. It's nice up here. I love northern Maine because you have very extreme frigid winters down to negative 40 degrees. But then summer, where I live, the average is 76 degrees. Up here, the average is 72 degrees. 72 degrees is, I think, 22 Celsius. We have cool summers. It's awesome. And since I've lived up here, let me think. First year I lived here, we had a drought. Second year, an extreme drought where the average was actually 92 degrees. It killed a lot of forest because the forest has shallow roots. It's supposed to rain up here often. Then after that extreme year, we had a year, the average high must have been like 66 or something. It was very cool. And it rained almost every day. I couldn't even find a good day to paint my house that year. Fungus started growing on tree leaves and things started dying. I had to put special chemicals on my tomato plants to stop them from dying from fungus. That was a very, very wet year. But I enjoyed it. I liked that kind of year. Then last year we had pretty average. We had a good amount of rain in the spring, a wet summer. Then we got into like August and September. It started getting pretty dry, but trees aren't really in the process of growing that late in the season. So in my opinion, it didn't really affect anything. I know further south it did. Like you see on the news, New Jersey had major wildfires. and a bunch of scattered ones other places where it usually would never happen. But now it started raining. We had a ton of snowpack. I think we're good right now. Who knows what this summer will bring, but every year's a little different. I'm just saying what historic average is. It's usually about around room temperature up here, historic average. The mornings in the summer are sometimes chilly. Don't get me wrong, sometimes we'll have a night that is pretty warm and humid. It happens sometimes, but typically there's not much humidity up here. Nice and dry usually. It rains a lot, but that doesn't exactly mean it's like oppressive humidity. Looking for a certain road I'm gonna turn on. Bottle's coming out again. But that is actually working pretty good, isn't it? I might actually keep that bottle there. I'm just gonna have to somehow make it more permanent. Somebody's been pulling into that road a lot. That snowmobile tracks. Snowmobile season was suspended a couple weeks ago due to inadequate snowpack. I think up here we're far enough north you could still probably do it. On these private roads no one would care. You're allowed to snowmobile logging roads if they're not plowed. Dinner soon and brush my teeth. Okay, these are frost heaves. That's why the hood's going wild. This right here looks like it's probably a culvert, this one. More frost heaves. But nothing severe. The way the spring thaw's going this year, I don't even think we got into heavy frost heave season yet. You need a lot of freeze and thaw cycles, which we're about to get this upcoming week. We just had a massive thaw. It got above freezing and it kind of stayed there. Didn't even dip a couple of these nights. I had a good time maple syrup boiling this week. 2 days nonstop. I had a 12-hour day and a 14-hour day. Days back to back, constantly boiling maple syrup. All that time boiling, I only got, I think 8 jars. But we're gonna do it again next week if we collect enough sap again. We'll keep doing it probably for the next month. Every week we're gonna do a big boil. Oh, here's a bunch of big holes. What causes those are rocks. Get forced up and then they collapse. The dirt's gone. Underground water movement is eroding. I know sometimes you can sink into that stuff. Gotta keep your eyes peeled and also expect what you can't see out here under the road. I don't want to be the unlucky person that gets into a sinkhole out here. It could happen. Check my dash. Tomorrow we will hit 70,000 miles on this truck. Today we drove 340 miles. We'll be parking soon. Another big, ooh, whoa, good thing I slowed down. Actually slightly bottomed out, if you could hear that. Yeah, I gotta stop soon. My knees are killing me out here. I gotta stand up or something. Then I gotta brush my teeth. But first I'll have a little bit of dinner. Another one. Sometimes it's hard to depict. Is the ground just wet or is it a hole? Doing pretty good out here out on the logging roads. Averaging over 18 mpg. That's pretty good for these type of roads. I used to travel these roads with my old car, which was like half the weight of this truck. This truck can't do it, I guess, because it's heavier. I'd see a bunch of potholes filled with water, and if I went maybe 30 miles an hour, I could just hydroplane over them one wheel at a time. They're small holes, you're not over the whole thing, but your wheel wouldn't fall completely into it if you were going fast enough. That used to be cool. This truck, however, can't do that. Can't believe we're not seeing any moose. They like the warmer weather. It's actually 34 degrees, 1 degree Celsius out right now. The moose will be out soon. Once the snow's gone, once it starts getting warm, they'll be out everywhere. They love the spring. Then in the summer, you'll see them a bit, but if it gets hot, a lot of them will retreat to Canada until winter. Okay, is this our road? I think so. This is basically a big triangle cutting through. Yeah, this is it. This has got to be it. My left, that's a gigantic island. And look at that, you can't even see that yield sign. Look how far in the woods it is. They haven't trimmed this road in a while. They should unscrew it and put it on a tree right next to the road. No one can even see that in there. Okay, we're back to a main artery. I guess the reason the camera shaking bothers me is because I just try to be a perfectionist and I don't like the rattling. You know, even when I'm editing videos, when you do like a cut, you zoom into something for a few seconds, zoom back out, another cut. Between those cuts, sometimes you'll hear like a little click or a pop. So I transition and blend the clips together in the editor so it doesn't make that noise. But then I watch someone's video who has like 20 million followers and nobody cares. Their videos have all these weird pops and clicks. Just no one seems to think into it or it doesn't bother them at all. I only notice it because I specifically edit those types of things out. But, you know, I guess a lot of people don't care about that. Like, there'll be a video that I'll put all kinds of time into, and then I'll throw something else together in like a couple minutes, just splice everything real fast, and a lot of people just don't notice the difference in it. I think tomorrow night, honestly, the logging company is going to reactivate the trucks. Because tomorrow is not even going to hit freezing. It's going to be below freezing all day. And extreme cold tomorrow night. Tonight is supposed to get pretty cold too, I believe. I'm actually going to double check right now. Yeah, it's going to get down to 20 tonight. But tomorrow night it's going to get down to like 9. I think they'll start running the trucks again. I think these roads will freeze nicely. Okay, right here to the left is a culvert that often clogs, but it looks okay. No flooding. Look at all the logs. Now that we're back on the main artery, I guess we could play the log game again. There was a whole bunch of them there that fell out of the trucks. Alright, how many are we gonna find before we stop for the night? Typically, if we hit a giant bump or a frost heave, there's going to be logs everywhere. Let's see if we can prove that to be true. Wait for me to hit the next big abrupt bump and see if there's any logs around. Or if we see logs, we're going to see if there's a bump. One or the other. Okay, there was a little bump, but I don't see any logs. Try this again and again. See if we can see anything. Yeah, this road's actually a lot smoother. This is actually very, very nice. The main artery. Okay, here's some bumps. No logs. Hills, some of the logs can slip out a little easier. I saw one on the left. This area. I believe there's a notorious beaver issue coming up. Maybe. another log. Okay, are we gonna find a bump up here around this corner? Anything that could have dislodged those? No, they were just ready to fall out, I guess. Here's a couple of bumps, maybe. You know, these logs here, if you're ever out here for camping or hunting, whatever the reason is, and you have kids, you know, this might be a good game to play. You can tally up all the logs. You see, I used to play certain games like that with my grandparents when I was little. We'd have a little notepad, we'd tally up. We'd also do like I Spy, where we have to find certain items as we're driving. Things like that. Road trip games. Not that anyone these days would be interested in that. Most people wouldn't be. I still would be. When you see all the logs on the road like this is only an issue. You don't really see the logs much except in the spring. This is when the roads are in the worst shape because of mud. The ground is definitely still frozen a bit down. There's a log over there on the other side. I could totally go the speed limit if I wanted. The speed limit here is 45. I'm going about 35 for safety in case of holes or animals. There's another big log. Yeah, there's a little bit of bumps. Ooh. Stay in there, bottle. You know what I'm gonna have to do? I'm gonna have to have a designated bottle that stays there with Velcro. Something like that. This idea is working, but these bumps. Another one. I guess we could count this as bumpy. There's our beaver issue area. I knew it was coming up. I want to take another go at that. I want to look at it. We're going to turn around. This road they're not using. Gotta watch it when you pull off the main artery because you could sink into the shoulder this time of year. Okay. This is the culvert that one time we released a big blob came out with flies buzzing around it, if you know what I mean. So this is also the pipe that had a bog stuck in the end of it back in the fall. And we were able to chop it up with a rake and get it to fit through there. A bog is basically a floating blob of grass. It could even have bushes on it. Bogs can be only a couple square feet. It can also be floating acreage, which wreaks havoc as it floats around a lake. It's basically a moving island that's floating, and it can smash into docks, get stuck under a bridge. Some pretty cool videos of that stuff. They'll have to move the island with a barge and then anchor it somewhere so it doesn't cause problems anymore. But that was a little mini one we were able to break with a rake. Another log. Those logs are bouncy if you are following close. It's not only that you're going to run it over, it could smash through your windshield. They will bounce. Especially falling from that height. I've never personally saw one fall out, but that's always a fear when these trucks blow by you at 50, 60 miles an hour when you're pulled over letting them pass. It's always a fear of them driving by and something could fall out. Moths are already out. I see moths everywhere. Another one. That was a long one. There was two more there, and yep, a big bump right next to them. Oh, another one. More bumps. I saw another one over there. Little one. This looks like they just put a new culvert in the way that's created. Yep, right next to the bumps. Ooh, another log. They must be logging down there. I see a whole pile of them. So is there going to be any more log traffic up here? Probably. We'll find out. Another log. Yep, definitely coming down here. Another one. That was a thick one over there. Up, two more over on the left. Yep, there's a lot of bumps around here. That road is not plowed. Lots of bumps, but no logs. sometimes it's even creepy seeing that in the middle of the night. These newer logging equipment in the middle of the night. Oh, 2 more logs. It'll be, oh, big bump here. That's how they fell off. Yeah, they'll have this newer logging equipment, which is just so advanced, where they just, some of it's even automated. It's cool seeing these machines at night. It's eerie. These big tree cutting machines in the middle of the night. Whoa. Ooh, that was a big one. Felt like it almost wanted to pull me. Isn't responding. Okay. This area seems familiar, but I'm not sure. Looking for a certain road that I like to sleep on. I know it's somewhere near a lake, but there's also dozens of lakes that we're going by in the woods. And I think it's coming up. So I guess I'll end the video here for tonight. We'll maybe do this again tomorrow night if we come across a heavy moose area or something, or active logging area. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great night. See you another day.